and delivered the coup de grace. I don't know why the manager told me it was a classic. Nina looked around for Liz Quinn, the guilty party. She could hear the distant rustling of washable silk as Liz went to ground in the young adult section. Snipe. Nina breathed in hate and breathed out love. She smiled at the customer. "Did you read it all the way through?" The woman didn't smile back. "Of course." Not a quitter, just a whiner. "Well, then we can't refund your money." Nina curled her toes inside their fluffy socks. The customer couldn't see that, of course, and Nina sincerely hoped she looked calm and resolute. "Why not?" The customer was short, but she managed to draw herself up a couple of inches. All that Pilates finally paying off. Nina was firm. "Because we sold you a book and you read it. That's pretty much the whole life cycle of bookstores right there. If you didn't enjoy it, I'm very sorry, but we can't do anything about it." She looked down at the book on the counter. "You really didn't like it? It's generally considered one of the greatest novels of all time." Nina resisted the impulse to pull out her imaginary blaster and blow the woman's head off, and got a micro-flash of the bit in Terminator 2 where his silvery head splits in the middle and waves about. Liz was always telling her to be warmer toward the customers, and to remember they could go online and buy a book on the planet faster than Knights could order it. Nina needed to make it a friendly and personal experience, so they liked her enough to give the store A, more money, and B, more time than they had to give that other place. Independent booksellers called it the river, so as to avoid saying it out loud. But as Nina often thought, denial ain't just a river in South America. The woman made a face. "I don't know why. The heroine sits around and gazes out of the window. If I spent all my time sitting on my butt pondering life, I assure you I wouldn't be as successful as I am." She shook back her long, blonde hair with its carefully casual beachy waves, and had another thought. "If I don't like the food at a restaurant, I can send it back and get a refund." "Not if you've eaten it." Nina was confident on this one. "Can I get a store credit at least?" Nina shook her head. "No, but may I suggest a library card? At a library, you can borrow the book, read it, and give it back, totally free of charge." She forced a smile. There are actually 2 within walking distance of here. She was sure Liz would be happy to lose this customer. Pretty sure. "Walking?" Nina sighed. "There's parking at both." She slid the book back across the counter. "This is still yours. Maybe you could try it again sometime. I've read it about 20 times, actually." This was a gross understatement, but Nina didn't want to blow what was left of the customer's mind. The woman frowned at her. "Why?" She looked Nina up and down, not unkindly, just trying to work out why someone would do something so strange. Nina was wearing a pale green vintage cardigan over a blue dress, with a cardigan clip across the collar. Apparently, this clarified things for the customer, because the woman's expression softened to sympathy. "I guess if you've got a boring life, other people's boring lives are reassuring." Nina stepped on her own foot and seethed as the woman dropped Pride and Prejudice carelessly into her fancy handbag, bending the cover and dinging the pages. 2 minutes later, Liz appeared over the top of the graphic novel's shelf. "Is she gone?" Nina nodded, viciously tidying a pile of bookmarks and trying to forget the callous book treatment she had just witnessed. "You're a craven coward and wouldn't even emerge to defend your second favorite 19th century writer. For shame!" Liz shrugged. "Mrs. Austen needs no defense. You did fine. And besides, I've never forgotten a long conversation I had with that particular customer about LSD and the boundaries of consciousness." She straightened some